I'm ready whenever the board is.
All right. Okay, well, welcome everybody to our July regular meeting. I will go ahead and make a motion to open the meeting.
Member Shannon? Aye. Member Powers?
Aye.
Member Vanderswag? Aye. Member Loda?
Aye.
Chair Cook?
Aye,
Motion passes.
thank you. Okay, we have a relatively short agenda tonight, but our first item before we get to the items on the agenda, as always, is disclosure of any potential conflicts of interest. I do not have anything to disclose with respect to these items on our agenda tonight.
I do not.
I do not.
I do not. I do not.
Okay, so first item on the agenda is for 14 Eastview Terrace. This is the application that we looked at our last meeting, and we were advised that there was an issue with the subdivision that had to be taken care of. It looks like that application has been made, essentially to re-subdivide or to combine two existing parcels into one. I guess we need to open a public hearing on that before we consider it. So we'll go ahead and make a motion to open the public hearing on the application for re-subdivision on the two parcels for 14 Eastview Terrace.
I'll take member Loda second. Member Shannon?
Aye.
Member Powers?
Aye.
Member Vanderswag?
Aye.
Member Loda?
Aye.
Chair Cook?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right. So why don't we hear if there's anybody here that would like to speak on this application? Any members of the public? And the applicant is here as well. Would you like to say anything? You don't have to, but if there's anything you want to say, feel free.
No.
Okay.
Just have 70s.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. Do we have anybody online?
We don't have anyone online and we didn't receive any comments.
Okay.
To the clerk's office.
All right. I guess I would go ahead and move to close the public hearing unless anybody thinks we should leave it open.
Second.
Okay.
Member Loda?
Aye.
Member Vanderswag?
Aye.
Member Powers?
Aye.
Member Shannon? Aye. Chair Cook?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. I'll offer my thoughts on it. I mean, the application I think is very straightforward. It looks like it's already being treated by the county as a single parcel for certain tax purposes. I really don't see any good reason for us to not grant this application.
It's also being combined in one legal description.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. It seems that this is just essentially ratifying what's already in existing reality.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's crossing a T.
Yeah.
So.
So it just never came to us. Is that what happened? Everybody else was in agreement and then it didn't come to us?
Yes.
Okay.
Essentially, that's my understanding, yeah.
Essentially, the only way for a re-subdivision to happen is for this board to agree to it. The county can do whatever they want. The deed can do whatever it wants, but it is not a legal subdivision, re-subdivision until this board says it is okay to re-subdivide.
So the issue is that if they haven't been combined, then all the rules that we have to follow with respect to setbacks and everything would go by the original boundaries and not by the single description. So that would require denial, or at least a very different analysis from the one that we think should apply to the property the way it exists today. So it makes sense to do the re-subdivision.
Yes.
Please, yeah.
One question, just if we could officially agree is that we would have the tax implications village wise, that would change anything to do with how we pay currently. And then, just in
Well, that's
I'm sorry.
that's a good
Is
question.
there a question?
Yeah, the question, as I understand it, Jeff, is does our granting this application for re-subdivision have any impact on the village taxes? To the
Yeah,
end,
so it's already being taxed as one person.
okay,
That's the question.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the question.
that was my
it's
understanding.
already being taxed as one person.
No village tax would change us.
I mean, I should be clear, I don't think our board has any authority to, make any pronouncement about taxes, but, as far as we've been advised by our council, there shouldn't be any tax implications.
My understanding is from the code enforcement officer's exploration of this is that the town, and we use the town assessors, as town assessor is, taxing this as one parcel, so.
Yeah.
I mean, that,
I was just curious if anyone has any idea how that area was subdivided, like how did this came to be where, like, who did that belong to before, where the previous owners purchased from them? I mean, I could reach out to them, I just,
Yeah.
if anyone knew.
That's an interesting question. I think, our code enforcement officer may have some insight on that as he's, investigated it. It wasn't something that came before our board, with respect to this application and what all the twists and turns of the history. But, Steve may have some answers on that.
It's true, because there's limited access to it, so.
Yeah.
Like.
Right,
Right, but the question is the lot itself, like, if it's not yours, there's limited access
I think Steve said something about it having come from the lot behind.
behind, I
Well,
think.
so we back up to that 3-house. Thing on South where it's 3 stacked houses
Right.
in the street, and so it was just, maybe there was like one long thing that split into 4. And my side bought one and they took 3 of them.
Yeah, that could be.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
no, otherwise.
Mhm.
I mean, I think I'm prepared to make a motion to approve, grant the application. Does anybody think there's anything else that we should discuss or any factual findings that we should make, before we do that?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, well, with that, I will go ahead and make a motion to, grant the application for re-subdivision.
Second.
Member Shannon,
I,
member Powers,
Aye.
member Vandersloot,
Aye.
member Loda,
I,
Chair Cook,
Aye.
motion passed.
Okay. Now, the only other item on the agenda for tonight is we've got some minutes and some resolutions to approve.
Mhm.
Thank you. Yeah, have a good night. Before we get to that, though, I did want to raise another issue that wasn't on the agenda. Code enforcement officer has advised us that, one of the previous applications that we decided, with respect to the abode, application to expand their building, was not properly, applied for. It was that the wrong standards had been applied, to the previous application. When our code enforcement officer, advised the applicant that they needed to apply for one thing, it seems like actually they needed to apply for something different. And, those issues were not placed before our board. We've discussed it with council and we've been advised that, it would be advisable to, reconsider the application with the proper standards. So, this doesn't mean, just for the benefit of any member of the public that's watching either now or looks at a recording later, I intend to make a motion to, reconsider the application. My understanding is that the motion would not decide whether the application should be granted or denied, just that we should reconsider it under the proper standard. And then that would be placed on the agenda for a future meeting and we would consider it anew under the proper standards. So we're not making a decision tonight about what the ultimate decision is, just a decision about whether it should be reconsidered or not. And then my understanding is that the motion has to be unanimous under town code. So we need to unanimously agree to reconsider it. And then upon reconsideration, it's just the regular standard, majority decision. So Jeff, is there anything I misstated in that or?
Yeah, generally, we would not be discussing, the board would not be discussing anything that's not on the agenda. But this is really more in the nature of a ministerial sort of action that is correcting a previous administrative problem, in which the public really doesn't have any input. The mistakes were made.
Right, at least on the
Issue
Yeah.
of was the correct variance applied for and considered by this board.
right. And then it'll be put, if the motion passes tonight, it'll be put on a future agenda. The public will be notified and have opportunity to comment when we actually, if the motion passes, then the public will have an opportunity to comment when we actually do reconsider those applications.
Wouldn't it be of most interest to the applicant that we're doing this?
Yes, I would think so.
Does the applicant have to reapply as,
I don't
Okay.
believe
It's
so.
a straight up reconsideration.
okay, but the, is it written in the application what their variances were, and we have to change that?
I do not know,
Okay,
but certainly this board can correct the record.
right, okay,
Yeah,
that's what I was just wondering, if there's like a new application.
That variance should be this variance.
okay.
Okay,
And we could, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that we could construe the application to be applying for the correct variance or whatever it was.
Yes, yeah, you have the administration.
We wouldn't need to
So,
require.
even though your application says you want this variance, what it is, you need this variance, and that is the variance we are going to consider.
Okay. Okay. Well, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and make the motion to reconsider the applications with respect to the abode expansion project.
second,
You're talking about the two variances that were denied, correct?
Correct.
Setback and garage height.
Correct. yes.
Mhm.
Member Loda? Aye. Member Vanderswag?
aye,
Member Powers?
Aye.
Member Shannon?
Aye.
Chair Cook?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right.
And have we verified
And-
what these new things are that we're told? Is that accurate now, or the previous ones were inaccurate, and we're
Are we
looking at the new
Talking
ones
about
are accurate?
application if it's not on the agenda or is just the reconsideration? I don't know if we.
What's the question?
I was just wondering if have we verified the new information that is presented?
Yeah, and whether that gets fleshed out as an amended application from the applicant, just to make sure the record is completely clear on what's going on. The applicant certainly could have filed an amended application at any time, so when we are reconsidering it, probably the best practice would be to have him file an amended application. And Steve has now made the decision that will frame the variances properly.
Okay.
If that answers your question at all.
I think there's only one variance now, is that correct?
I think that's right.
Okay.
That was my
The
understanding.
setback variance, the height variance is not required.
Right.
Okay,
That was his
okay,
interpretation.
that might have been like
Yeah.
your question, right?
Just trying to figure out if the new information is now has been
Solid.
verified. Yeah.
No, it's a good question because.
I mean, I'm a little confused, to be honest.
But I'm not sure what
No.
you mean as.
I guess the building inspector's determination, that's what stands as accurate. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, I mean, again, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that if he issues an interpretation of the code, that interpretation essentially binds this board Unless
It's
it's
appeal.
challenge, appeal, yeah.
I'm not sure I understand why the applicant needs to submit an amended.
Because I think it'd be great to have all of it laid out for the record, just in case there was a challenge. In the record, exactly what's going on. We can cover it in the verbal record of the meeting, but I think to say to the applicant, it would be good if you refined your application for the public too, to see what that
Right,
application
for
is.
transparency, yeah.
But couldn't we do that?
Do a new application. amend
Like
application.
amend the application because it was already.
You cannot amend it.
I mean, we could construe it.
You can construe it, but
Okay.
you can't amend it in
Okay.
writing, and I think it'd be good to have it amended
Okay.
in writing. So when the packet goes for publication, the issue goes to public hearing, that everybody can see what it is when it goes on the website.
I was just trying to avoid any kind of extra work on their part, since I mean, even,
I
right,
think
Right, additional hardship.
that extra work will certainly will be additional fees,
Yeah.
but that extra work
that's good.
is something that would have been done no matter when the administrative error was discovered. It's if Steve said, hey, this is not the right variance before you had made your decision, then my advice still would have been to do an amended application, so it's all the record is entirely, the written record especially is entirely clean.
Mm.
Because if we ever had a challenge, you'd want to be able to put that in the return on the Article 78.
That makes sense.
Here's the application. Here's the change in decision from the CEO. Here's the amended application on which that decision or based on that decision rather.
Yeah. Now, just logistically, should this be on the agenda for our next regular meeting and then the notices will go out or?
When's the application deadline for the next meeting?
I'm sorry, is the applicant choosing to be reheard or we're waiting to speak to them or what's the goal?
So, well,
Right, that's
here's-
part of what I want to figure out. Yeah.
okay. So when is the application deadline for the next meeting?
It's passed.
The
So,
next meeting is passed?
yeah, yes, we're 5 weeks ahead. So for August. Let's see.
That's true.
So if you guys remember, we moved our August meeting to July 29th because Steve and I were gonna be on vacation. And that deadline was June 24th. So for the September 2nd meeting, the deadline is July 29th.
I would,
So, no, so I feel since the kind of original misstep is on us. And we have changed the date of our next meeting, which pushes it out further. I hope that we could maybe organize a special meeting. I think
July 29th is still a meeting. This board has 0 applications for that date, but only administrative. So if the applicant is working with a code enforcement officer to come before this board, I don't see why not July 29th, because we have enough time to notice.
sorry.
no, well, let me offer my thought about the solution, which is have Steve say, hey, do you want to amend your application to frame it around these new variances? The answer is yes, then what deadline would the board like to have that application in advance of the August 29th meeting?
July 29th meeting.
I'm sorry, July. 29th
Yeah.
meeting.
Well, don't we have to give notice?
I mean, I have plenty of time to do that. So this board will get their packet on July 15th. If those amendments are gonna be included on the 29th, then Steve can
promulgated in by does that give you enough publication time?
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay.
Publish it on the 29th?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I mean, knowing this applicant as well, good luck, but if I would give him a hard deadline of July 10th, which gives them all next week.
okay, yeah, and then if that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen,
Yeah,
but this board is still not telling that they can allow it to happen.
okay.
Are there two separate, there's two variances, were there two separate?
There's, I think there's one now.
Just-
which is-
There were two,
There were-
now there's
My
one.
question is, there were two, were there two fees?
No,
How does that
I
work?
think so, there were two fees, one should be refunded.
Right,
Correct.
Well, one, this board should indicate to the trustees that one should probably be refunded. So that's a question for Steve, whether or not two fees. would be.
Good question. Can I ask a question? If the applicant chooses not to resubmit, then we just do not proceed?
Let's Robert.
Wait till,
Yeah, I think we probably would have the authority to still reconsider our decision.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
We would, it'd be a lot, I think
It'd be cleaner to have a,
I wanna have a chat with the board and then the training class session at that.
Okay,
Figure out what we want to do.
that
okay,
makes sense.
all right.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
The only other item on the agenda now is, we've got a bunch of minutes and resolutions to approve. Unless, before we go on to that, does anybody have anything else that you want to raise or any other member items? All right. Hearing none, we'll, move on. So our first one, at least in the packet that I've got, which I assume is the same as everybody else's packet, is, we've got the, regular meeting minutes for the April meeting. I kind of, scanned through, I didn't see anything on this that was glaring, changes that needed to be made. I don't know if anybody else has any edits on this one.
what's that? April 16th. That was an extra meeting, I think.
It was, we pushed back because of availability. So we weren't in our first Wednesday.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had one.
Okay.
I thought.
All right, so it was, yeah. I
It was, yeah.
It was, that was that
But
extra
wait, but April 16th is a
Thursday.
Thursday, so we have to change.
I think it was April 8th. Is that right? Or,
Oh, it
No,
was
it was
It was
Thursday.
Thursday, so that's
So
wrong.
that's why, that's where so it's Thursday, April 16th.
Yes.
Yeah,
Good
Okay.
point.
Just trying to get everything correct on
that's
that.
true.
I did not think to look at the
It
calendar.
was, it is Thursday, and then we did meet.
But I thought that the, summary of the public comments was, it all seemed accurate to me as far as my recollection was. And the voting looked correct.
Yeah, I think I was one of them.
All right, so the next one, we've got, resolution 2026 dash.
Do we have to approve it?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, we need to officially, you're right. So with that, I'll go ahead and move to approve these minutes, with the change we discussed on the record.
Second,
Member Shannon?
Aye.
Member Powers?
I,
Member Vandersway?
Aye.
Member Loda?
Aye.
Chair Cook?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, so the next one is resolution 2026-01. This is a decision on the area variance from the meeting that we just discussed. Does anybody have any edits or changes on this one?
No.
I don't.
All right, well, hearing none, I will go ahead and make a motion to approve resolution 2026-01.
Second.
Member Shannon,
Aye.
member Powers,
Aye.
member Vanderjagt,
Actually, this variance was not, this decision was done at the May 6th meeting.
no, it's
Right.
the planning decision.
Oh, okay,
Was done on the May 6th.
okay, yeah,
So
okay,
They got this relief first.
okay, I'm sorry, then, I,
Okay.
all of a sudden I was like, wait, I was all confused.
Yeah, no,
I was
it's
like, yes.
I know.
Glad you brought it.
Yeah. Got it, I,
Member Loda, Chair Cook,
Aye.
motion passes. I will tell you that, I am closing out the planning resolution with, prior council because it was decided that they would write that one for the parking credit for this
That's right.
application.
That's right.
So I just don't have it for you guys yet.
Okay. All right. I assume we'll have that for our next meeting.
Oh, well, do you assume that?
Or at a, I'll just say, we'll have that at a future meeting. We'll be-
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right, so the next one is our regular meeting minutes from our May 6th meeting. This one included the discussion about the parking credits and everything on the 5, also known as 1 South Main Street, as well as the 5 Austin Park area variant on lot coverage.
So the last paragraph, on the first page, it's Jared Lust.
Lust, yeah,
No, and IN, thank you.
yeah, that's right.
And then there's no motion to approve the 5 Boston Park. What's that happened to that?
Let me look, I'm sorry, I'm pulling it up right now. Did I just leave it out?
I think so.
Okay, all right.
Because we did approve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
We did, yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know who made the motion.
If you give me a second, because I want to get these approved, we can just do it as amended if you're okay with that.
oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
yes. Get us out of here.
It's okay.
Yes.
Resolution.
Ah,
You guys don't have that one, because I just finished it today. I was gonna get it to you, but you haven't seen it yet. So 5 Austin Park was offered by Chairperson Cook, seconded by member Vanderswag. Member Loda, yes. Member Shannon abstain. Member Vanderswag, yes. Member Powers, yes. Chair Cook, yes. Motion passed. So I will add that to the minutes.
Okay. That makes sense. Anybody have any other edits, clarifications on these minutes before we take a vote?
Nope.
All right. Well, hearing none, I will go ahead and move to approve the minutes from the May 6th regular meeting, as amended, according to our discussion on the record.
Second.
Member Shannon,
Aye.
Member Powers,
Aye.
Member Vanderswag,
Aye.
Member Loda,
Aye.
Chair Cook,
Aye.
motion passes.
All right, that covers everything that was on the agenda. Does anybody have any other member items before we move to adjourn? Okay. Hearing none, I will go ahead and make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Second.
Member Shannon,
Aye.
Member Powers,
Aye.
Member Vanderswag,
Aye.
Member Loda,
I.
Chair Cook,
Aye.
motion passed.
Right.
Thanks, everybody.